Motion controls, a phrase that makes professional gamers wince, but professional grandmas jump for joy. The latter half of the 2000s can be summed up in 4 words: motion controls everywhere. And recession, that was a pretty big part of the 2000s. What people consider to be a pretty annoying gimmick now was the hot new thing everyone was trying to get in on. To be completely real with you, motion controls led to us getting some of the worst garbage in gaming ever. It led to games being forced to have motion controls that did not need it. It gave us Just Dance, which is actually pretty awesome, but it also gave us the Kinect, the thing that killed Xbox when they were on top for like 2 minutes. Motion controls weren't all bad though. They led to Nintendo's second best-selling console ever. I should have made this video a few years ago so I could say it led to their top-selling console of all time, and you could be all like, yo, what? That's crazy. I'm gonna drop a like just because of that fact. Motion controls led to Nintendo's best-selling, strictly home console ever, and it saved them from the impending doom of a comet that comes around every 243 years. That comet's name? Bankruptcy and the unemployment of 4,000 people. But little did we know at the time that same thing that saved them from the comet would pull it towards them harder than ever before. Let's start with the saving part first, because before motion controls, Nintendo was in bad shape. To understand how dire their situation was, we gotta go back to 2005. Blink-182 just had their first breakup, my biopic just came out and they got my age a little bit wrong, and Nintendo's home console wasn't doing too hot. It was just a bad year all around. I think Hurricane Katrina hit this year. Not a good year. Every single home console Nintendo made up until this point was selling less and less than the previous one. The GameCube barely sold a third of what the NES sold. Even with incredible games like Pikmin, Super Smash Bros., Chibi Robo, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and Doshin the Giant, the GameCube was somehow no match for the NES and its Action 52 and Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle, which is a pretty fitting subtitle for a P. Diddy documentary. I would be lying if I said Nintendo was totally screwed at this point. They had major success with their handhelds, but to be fair, those things were like the price of a Costco hot dog if you bought like 60 of the Costco hot dogs. Still, Nintendo would not last as a company if they only did handhelds. Not only is it less profitable and more limited, but they were going to be completely replaced in 15 years. They couldn't afford to lose the console war. Overall, Nintendo was in hot water, and not the good kind, like, ooh, feels so good, I'm relaxing with bubbles. The kind that's like, I gotta get out of here, you're cutting carrots into this pot, that's suspicious. They needed something to compete with Xbox and Sony, something revolutionary. I don't know, can we make it more P-related somehow? That's chill. Maybe it's the constant barrage of misery life keeps throwing at us, but I completely forgot how huge the Wii was. It genuinely changed the world. In the early days of the Wii, finding one was impossible. It would sell out the moment it was restocked. I remember my dad taking his only day off like every few weeks to go to GameStop right when they opened to try and get a Wii for the family, and they never had it. It was really sad. I feel pretty bad for that now, but I think it was worth it. We all had a lot of fun with the Wii. Good memories. I don't have any pictures to show you, so I'm just pointing at nothing. It was no surprise then that the Wii sold more in 3 years than the NES, the previous best-selling home console, sold in its 10 years of life. From 2007 to 2010, it was the top-selling console every year, almost always selling twice the number of units that the second-place console sold. It was insane. Once they were able to produce enough units, the Wii was everywhere. It was in the glass TV console of every single house you went into. It was in every show you watched. It was all over the internet and in every meme at the time. You could not escape the Wii. Now that's a good subtitle for an R. Kelly movie. Even Sony and Xbox had to get in on the action, which, it was clear this was the future of gaming until people realized, what am I doing? I don't want to bike with my hands. This sucks. It was the shot heard around the world. Everyone set down their Wiimote at once and decided, I'm over it, bro. From 2009 onwards, the Wii would only see decreasing sales. New software, price cuts, and cheaper models were not saving this thing. It's like asking a girl what her type is and then showing up the next day with a leather jacket and 6 shades. you're still the same dork underneath, and the consumer or girl could clearly see that. Nintendo tried to recreate the Wii's success by confusing the consumer with a console that mimicked the one they already stopped using years ago. We'll get into the reasons why motion controls as a whole failed in a moment, but basically, the Wii U doubled down on all those things and made it even worse by putting the gamepad on top of it all. During the Wii U's life cycle, Nintendo was earning record-breakingly low revenue. It got so bad, their CEO, the late Satoru Iwata, rest in peace king, halved his salary so they wouldn't have to downsize at all and they could afford to keep paying their employees. It's important to note that yes, they were still a huge company at this point, but they didn't have the success of two handhelds to keep them going through this rough patch. People who weren't fans of the Wii or who grew tired of its gimmick were hoping the Wii U would be a return to form for the company. They wanted to see incredible games like the ones they experienced on N64 and GameCube before this whole motion control thing took over. They got none of that. They got Twitter for babies. They got Twitter. Looking back now, it's appalling to see the decisions Nintendo made. With the Wii already losing steam, I cannot understand why they tried to make a sequel. It's like making a sequel to the Chainsmokers. Like, no, we're good. We're done with that. We've been done with that. The reasons why motion controls failed are so clear now. What's that? You want me to go through the reasons because you're a little poo-poo baby and you don't understand them and you want me to list them out for you and you just made a big poo-poo in your diaper? Well, I'm not changing your freaking nasty diaper. First, oversaturation. Everyone and their mother was trying to create a motion controls peripheral or console. Seriously, this is the one my mother and I made. It went nowhere. The Kinect didn't connect with consumers. The PlayStation Move moved straight to clearance, and the Wii U was in desperate need of an ambulance. Wii U, Wii U, Wii U. You know it's a good joke when you can find it on iFunny. People grew tired of motion controls after consumers had their fill and topped it off with some dessert of chocolate lava cake. The gaming industry was still trying to shove it down their throats by sneaking it into every single game, even if it made the game worse. You're putting vegetables into a brownie. I am not Rowley Jefferson. I don't want that. The casual audience that really helped the Wii spread like lice in an elementary school was losing interest and moving on to the world of mobile gaming to pick up their slingshots and stop the evil pigs. This video was sponsored by Angry Birds. Do you hate things with green skin, no limbs, but love physics? Try out Angry Birds. Motion controls changed the world. For a few years. Do I hate motion controls? No. Do I love motion controls? They're okay. Will I motion control? Maybe. When will I motion control? Motion controls are nearly non-existent now. Sorry, I got really tired of saying those words. Nintendo and everybody else learned their lesson and stop using motion controls for literally everything because it sucks. The Kinect was completely dropped after the X-Bone. The Switch dabbles in motion controls every once in a while, but they didn't even bother including a pack-in game that had motion controls, which was a big mistake because who the hell is gonna buy this? Okay, a couple million are gonna buy it. We share the same Earth as these people. The PlayStation technically has motion controls with their PlayStation VR, and that's the only medium that still has motion controls. Motion controls were inevitable. They were the next step in immersion. Their true fault, though, was not knowing their place. Not every game needed it. Half of the time it didn't work right, and it's kind of cumbersome to have to wiggle around a controller to get through the most basic menu options. I think the only future motion controls have are in VR or like a novelty Mario Party minigame. I will say it made gaming interesting for a little while, even if it was tacky and kind of annoying. It was something new that really brought people together to beat the shit out of each other or smash their brand new plasma TV. I'd actually be down for motion controls to make a comeback now that we have the technology for it. Subscribe for weekly videos. Check out the Chon store for some awesome clean clothing. We have this in blue and a t-shirt. Comment your favorite motion controls game. Don't choose Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort because that's just cheating. And thank you for watching. All right, check out what I just learned. Give me a sec. I need to find a place for this microphone. You know, like Wii Sports. Sorry, it's super out of tune. Thank you, guys.